The Doctor and Maggie were in the TARDIS, bickering over where to travel next. One would like to believe after 3 months travelling together they would have some sort of accord over these trivial matters. However, they are both Irish. "What about the high mountaintops of Sierra 7 AP?" the Doctor said with great confidence, with the nervous twinge in his voice after hours of arguing with Maggie.
I'm not a fan of heights,
Maggie reluctantly said. The Doctor collapses in the TARDIS chair, unleashing a sigh of defeat. "What do you want to see then? A time traveller can only suggest so much," the Doctor said, flustered. Maggie thinking to herself with her hand on her chin. This prolonged concentration is becoming somewhat tedious to the Doctor, anxious while waiting to hear where Maggie would like to travel next. Then suddenly, and with great excitement, Maggie exclaims,
"The Beatles!"
The Doctor, looking perplexed at Maggie's request, then replies with, "The Beatles! After hours of arguing, all this back and forth, you settled on the Beatles?" the Doctor said in uproar.
"Yes! Wouldn't you want to meet the greatest rock band in history?"
Maggie asks the Doctor. The Doctor replies, "Of course, I met them before. One of them fancied me. Guess which one?" the Doctor says cryptically. The Doctor then ponders upon Maggie's request, and then coming to the decision that taking Maggie to see the Beatles, despite the repercussions of rewriting his timeline with them, is worth not having to carry on arguing with Maggie for hours. The TARDIS lands. The Doctor exits the TARDIS doors casually as Maggie rushes with excitement after him, as they find themselves in Abbey Road, pub, in Liverpool. Maggie frowns as the disappointment of their location hits her.
Doctor, this is not Abbey Road,
she said, confused and perplexed. The Doctor puts his hand around Maggie and comforts her. "Maggie, do you really believe I truly have no idea what I'm doing?" the Doctor said with confidence. However, the blatant look on Maggie's face gives the Doctor all the response he needed. The Doctor gulps, nervous with the intensive stare Maggie was giving him. The Doctor, trying to act confident, collects his thoughts as he says, "Maggie, prepare yourself, as in about 10 seconds you're about to meet your rock star idols," the Doctor said confidently. Maggie looks to the Doctor. Unconvinced the Doctor got the time and place right, Maggie proceeds to tell the Doctor bluntly,
"Doctor, look, you got the time and place wrong, so please, stop acting like..."
Before Maggie is able to finish her sentence, the pub doors swing open and the silhouette of the legends themselves can be seen through the door frame. The Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison walk into the bar, John approaching the Doctor. "Doctor! Long time no see!" Maggie starstruck as the Doctor replies to John Lennon, "John, great to see you again too. However, how do you know it's me?" John then appearing nervous. Very out of character for him as he muddles up, "Oh, the hat! Only a doctor we'd know would wear that hat with this get-up." The Doctor steps back, unsure how the Beatles are acting. However, shrugs it off and then introduces Maggie to them. "This is Maggie May, the one and the only." Maggie trying to find the words to introduce herself to her rock star idols and then says,
"It's an absolute honour. I can't believe I'm meeting you all."
Maggie says with excitement. Ringo extends his hand towards Maggie. "The pleasure's all ours, Maggie." Maggie hastily shakes Ringo's hand, and the Doctor notices that his hand has a harsh red rash on the back of it. Curiosity got the better of the Doctor, so he asked Ringo, "What happened there, Ringo?" The Doctor gestures to Ringo's hand. Ringo putting his hand away hastily and then exclaims, "It's nothing, just burnt my hand from setting up lights on a gig." The Doctor's suspicious grows more and more, still willing to shrug this off, but keeping an open mind. The Doctor, Maggie and the Beatles sit by the bar, no bartender in sight. This worries the Doctor as he looks around the pub and notices they are the only ones in the whole establishment. The Doctor's curiosity takes him behind the bar, Maggie asking him,
"I'm not too sure you're allowed back there, Doctor,"
Maggie said cautiously. The Doctor slams his foot on the ground. The slams reverb off the ground as if it were hollow, which it shouldn't be, thought the doctor. The doctor gets out a sonic screwdriver from his inside pocket, scans the floor, and then checks the readings. This worries the doctor and throws him aback as he confirmed his readings. "There's something under here," the doctor said with panic as he rushes to Maggie and the Beatles. George Harrison says to the doctor, "Could just be an underground cellar, Doc," George said reassuringly. At that very moment, 2 Zygons break into the pub, the doctor surprised, Maggie afraid as the Zygon marches their way towards the Beatles. The doctor jumps in front of them, making his stand and holding his sonic screwdriver towards them with great confidence. The doctor commands the Zygons and shouts to them, "Hold it!" with great emphasis. The Zygons stop, looks at the sonic screwdriver. They know who they are dealing with. "Doctor!" The Zygons are snarling at the doctor. The doctor smirks, putting his sonic screwdriver back in his inside pocket. "Good, so we all know each other here," the doctor said, but Maggie is still confused. Then asked the doctor,
Not me. What are these things?"
Maggie exclaims. The doctor walks around the pub as he brilliantly explains who the Zygons are. The Zygons are shape-shifting body snatchers, taking a body print of their hosts to maintain their appearance. The doctor says smug as he is leaning on the mixing desk with speakers. The Zygons snarl at the doctor. "What is your plan, Doctor?" said the Zygon leader mockingly. The doctor chuckles to himself as he goes behind the mixing desk. "You chose the wrong decade for your invasion, as this is the 60s, the doctor shouts as he puts the sonic into the mixing desk. Loud, shrieking music plays out from the speakers. Maggie is just able to get through it. The Zygons, however, it's unbearable. The doctor runs towards Maggie and the Beatles as they make their way towards the back of the bar. John looks at the doctor, hazing and confused as the rest of the Beatles are. "Doc, what on earth's going on? This sort of stuff always happens when you're around." The doctor sonics the floor and then pulls up a secret door that leads to an underground base. "Trust me, this is just a start," said the doctor in reply to John. The doctor goes down. Maggie and the Beatles follow. The doctor and company enter the Zygon's secret base under the pub. The walls are covered with that same skin wart sucker texture as the Zygons are. The whole base looks like it's pulsing, like it's alive. The doctor and Maggie go forward as the Beatles consult amongst themselves.
"Doctor, shouldn't we wait for the Beatles to catch up with us?"
said Maggie, who appears uneased. The doctor finds a control panel, moving the flesh controls of the Zygon console, and appears to make Maggie uneasy and nauseous. This is the Zygon's base of operations. "But I wouldn't worry about that for now," said the doctor casually. Maggie turns to the Beatles as they look ahead towards both her and the doctor. "Yes, Doctor. Wouldn't you want to fill us in also?" John's voice becomes broken as he talked. The doctor smirked as his wildest fears came true. "Why? Wouldn't that just entice you to kill us quicker?" the doctor said calmly, as both he and Maggie, who looked scared, turns back to them. The Beatles begin to morph. Red pulsing warts cover their face as they turn back into Zygons. Maggie is terrified, unable to speak a word as the doctor shields her. "Thought as much. Explains a lot, actually. Why your memories aren't as they should, and the red marks on Ringo's hand." The Zygons smirk and growl at the doctor and Maggie. "Very clever, Doctor, but that won't save you," the Zygon commander said as they prepare to attack. The doctor twists one of the controls on the console as the Zygons attack. "This is your power supply, yeah? I don't know if you know this, don't know if you've been catching up, but I've got a habit of blowing up power supplies lately, and a Zygon base is on my bucket list," the doctor says with confidence, as the Zygons hesitate, standing their ground as the doctor threatens to blow up their base. "What do you want, Doctor?" shouted the Zygon commander. The doctor, holding his sonic screwdriver, points it towards the hibernation pods on the opposite side of the room. "I want you to let me and Maggie go with the Beatles, who you've held captive," the doctor says as he twists the controls more. Amber lights flash inside the base. The Zygons know the doctor is not fooling around and will kill them if they don't comply with his commands. With reluctance, the Zygons let the Beatles go as they awaken from their pods. John Lennon, dazed and confused. "What the hell is this place?" The doctor shouts towards the Beatles. "John, take yourself, Ringo, George, and Paul out of here." John, unknowing who the doctor is from not seeing this version of him before, is hesitant, but one snarl from a Zygon is enough to send them running and back up to Abbey Road pub. The Zygons look towards the Doctor and Maggie. The Doctor songs the controls as he and Maggie make their way to the exit. "If you try to stop us, I will not hesitate to blow this place to kingdom come," the Doctor shouts to the Zygons. The Zygons not happy but accept these terms, and the Doctor then follows with another demand. "Now, leave this planet. I don't care why you're here, but you were trying to mess with the greatest rock band in history, and that is not acceptable. Now, leave this planet, or else," the Doctor leaving his threat vague.
"We accept your request, Doctor,"
said the Zygon commander, holding his rage as the Doctor and Maggie made their escape. The whole base starts to shake and quake as the Doctor and Maggie run back to the pub. They regroup with the Beatles, who are afraid of the two unconscious Zygons from earlier. The Doctor says to the Beatles, "You lot may want to get out of here," the Doctor shouts as the Zygons begin to awaken. The Beatles run out of the pub, and before the Zygons are even able to make a snarl, Maggie tells them quickly,
You may want to kill us, but you may also like to know that your right is leaving.
Maggie said confidently. The Zygons growl at the Doctor and Maggie as they run back to their base. The Doctor and Maggie run outside the pub where they meet with the Beatles as they turn around to see the Zygon spaceship take off. The blast of the ship taking off cracks and breaks all the windows in the pub, with the Doctor awkwardly stating, "Oh, God, I hope they are insured for intergalactic spacecrafts." Maggie then says to the Doctor,
Were you really going to blow us all up?
Maggie asks curiously. The Doctor laughs and then replies with, "No, of course not. There's no way to blow it up in the first place," the Doctor exclaims. Maggie frowns, giving the Doctor a look that he's far too familiar of to be comfortable.
So scaring the living hell out of me was for nothing? Are you serious?
Maggie shouts. The Doctor explains, "Well, the power supply was organic, so you can't force itself to blow up. However, the lights and sounds are very much under your control," the Doctor says nervously to Maggie. The Beatles look confused with John saying, "Guys, I don't know how we got here, or do I even want to remember? Whoever you two are, thank you for saving our lives," John says gratefully. The Beatles shake the Doctor and Maggie's hands, with Maggie again trying to act cool in front of them.
It's been so nice to meet you. Thank you so much, John, Ringo, George and Paul. I'm honestly the biggest fan in the world of your work,
Maggie says with delight. The Beatles smile and walk away. The sun sets upon the horizon as their silhouette and shadow fills the streets as the four legends walk towards the sunset. The Doctor sighing after a long day and then saying to Maggie, "You know, next time we can't decide where to go, I shall make a list of potential destinations. One of them should make you happy, as I am not going through this again," the Doctor exclaims. "So how about an easy adventure into space this time?" the Doctor asks Maggie. Maggie taking a pause to think and then replies,
Sounds like music to my ears.